My name is Colby Jackson. I've been a truck driver for over 15 years. In August 2019, I was driving from Dallas to Albuquerque. I had made this trip many times before, and I knew the roads like the back of my hand. That night, I took Highway 285. It was a quiet stretch, mostly desert, with very little traffic after midnight. It was around 2:30 a.m. when I realized my fuel gauge was lower than I thought. I had skipped a station back in Vaughn, thinking I'd hit the next one, but nothing had come up for miles, and the tank was nearly empty. I started to worry. Then I saw a gas station sign glowing faintly in the distance. The sign simply said gas in red letters. No brand name, no lights around it. Just one flickering bulb above a rusted canopy. I pulled in. The place looked like it hadn't been touched in years. The pumps were old and dusty. No card readers, just metal buttons and a worn-out rubber handle. The windows of the small store behind the pumps were dirty and cracked. Still, I needed gas. I stepped out of the truck and looked around. No cars, no sound, not even the wind. The desert is never this quiet. I walked toward the booth. The door creaked as I pushed it open. A bell above the door gave a weak ding. Inside, a woman sat behind the counter. She looked about 60 or 70 years old, thin, with gray hair pulled into a loose bun. Her eyes were dull and pale, like she wasn't really looking at me. "Pump 2, I said, handing her a $20 bill. She didn't say a word. She just took the money and nodded slowly. I filled the tank as quickly as I could. Something about the place made my skin crawl. Once I was back in the truck, I drove off without looking back. But 20 minutes later, my heart sank. The gas gauge was dropping again. It was almost at empty. That made no sense. I had just filled the tank. I had seen the numbers tick up, but now it was like I never stopped. I pulled over to the side of the road. I checked the fuel cap. It was on tight. No leaks. The truck was running fine otherwise. I picked up my phone. No signal. The highway was dark and empty. No other cars. Just silence. Then, in my rearview mirror, I saw something that froze me. A light. Not headlights. A glowing red sign. It said gas. It was the same gas station. I had driven 20 miles. But somehow, it was right behind me. I turned around slowly. The pumps were still there. And so was the store. And inside the store, she was still sitting there. The same woman. Only this time, she was smiling. Her mouth was wide and stretched too far. I blinked. She was gone. The booth was empty. I stared at the building for a full minute. I started the truck and drove again, faster this time. The lights behind me faded. I didn't see the station again after that. But the gas? It never refilled. I made it to Albuquerque running on nothing. I should have run out of fuel 50 miles earlier. Later, I tried to find that station on the map. Nothing. I even asked other truckers at the next rest stop. One of them looked at me and said, "Was it past Vaughn?" "About 20 miles out." I nodded. He didn't say anything else. He just walked away. 2 weeks after the first encounter, I decided to drive the same route again. I couldn't let it go. I had to see if it was real. I brought a dash cam, fully charged, and a backup fuel can. I told myself if I saw that gas station again, I'd stop, but only for a minute. Everything was normal until I passed Vaughn. That stretch of Highway 285 was empty again. The night air was thick, even inside the cab. Then I saw it. Same glowing red sign. Gas. Same old pumps. Same cracked windows. I parked just outside the station, engine running. I turned the dash cam toward the station and hit record. The lights flickered. I stepped out and looked inside. She was there again. Only this time, she was standing. Her back was turned. She was brushing her hair in front of a dusty mirror behind the counter. I raised my phone to snap a photo. The screen stayed black. Nothing showed up. I checked the dash cam. It was off, fully dead. I stepped closer. My boot crunched glass that hadn't been there before. She turned, but her face wasn't a face anymore. It was stretched. I stumbled back, nearly falling off the porch of the gas station. Her face, it wasn't just stretched. It was wrong, like something wearing skin but not knowing how it should fit. Her eyes were too high, too wide, and her mouth hung open like she was mid-scream, but there was no sound. She tilted her head and stepped forward. I ran. I dove into my truck and slammed the door shut. The engine was still running, but when I tried to shift into gear, the truck wouldn't move. The wheel was locked. The lights dimmed. Then everything shut off. Headlights gone. Interior lights dead. It was pitch black, and in that thick silence, I heard a tapping. It was coming from behind me. I turned slowly. She was outside the rear window, not moving, just tapping one long, thin finger on the glass. I closed my eyes and started whispering to myself. Then something changed. I heard a creak, like a door opening. I looked up. The station door was swinging open again, but she was gone. I jumped out and ran toward the building. I don't know why. Curiosity? Stupidity? Maybe something else. Inside, it smelled like dust and oil and something rotting. The counter was empty. The mirror behind it was shattered now, but the door to the back room was open. I stepped inside. It was dark, lit only by a single bare bulb swinging from the ceiling. The room was filled with shelves of things, driver's licenses, watches, wallets, all dusty, all old. I recognized the logo on one of the wallets. It was a trucking company that had shut down years ago. That's when I saw the photos. Pinned on the far wall were Polaroids, hundreds of them. Every photo was of a person standing outside the station. Some looked scared, others confused, and one of them was me, standing next to my truck. That picture hadn't been taken, not by me. I didn't remember standing like that. And my eyes, in the photo, they were completely black. I backed out of the room and nearly tripped over something. It was a mirror, standing upright in the hallway. I looked in, but I wasn't alone in the reflection. She was behind me, grinning, her arms rising. I turned to run, but the hallway was empty. I sprinted out the door, back to the truck. This time it started. I didn't look back. I drove straight to Albuquerque, windows up, mirror tilted down. When I checked the dashcam later, the file was corrupted, just static, except for one frame. A single image at the very end. A photo of me. But this time, I wasn't standing by my truck. I was inside the station, and she was holding my hand. That was 4 years ago. Since then, I've changed routes. I avoid Highway 285 completely. I told myself it was just a nightmare or a hallucination brought on by fatigue. But last month, a new driver joined our company, fresh out of training. Nice kid, real polite. His name was Evan. He got assigned the Dallas to Albuquerque route. I warned him about the stretch past Vaughn, told him to fuel up early, gave him every excuse I could think of. He laughed it off, didn't listen. That night, He didn't check in. No texts, no radio, nothing. They found his truck on the side of 285, 20 miles past Vaughn. It was out of gas, doors locked, engine dead. But the weirdest part? His dash cam was gone. Just the mount left behind. No phone, no wallet. And his logbook ended at 2:33 a.m., right around the time I had first seen the station. I couldn't sleep after that, so I went back. I had to know if it was still there. I took a different truck, brought 3 cameras, 2 backup batteries, a satellite phone, and a baseball bat. I drove past Vaughn at 2:20 a.m., and sure enough, the red glow appeared. Gas. It looked the same, but this time I didn't get out. I stopped across the road, aimed my camera, and hit record. Nothing happened at first. Then the station lights turned off, all at once. I waited. That's when I heard it. Crunching footsteps on the gravel behind my truck. I checked the mirror. She was walking toward me. Slow. Barefoot. Her mouth was wide open, smiling. I floored it. Didn't stop until the sun came up. When I checked the footage later, all of it was blank, except for 2 seconds. The moment just before I hit the gas. She was there, closer than I remembered, and Evan was standing behind her, smiling, just like her, mouth stretched, eyes hollow. Every now and then, I still check the route logs. Some nights, other drivers report fuel vanishing without cause. Others say they saw a strange woman near the road. But nobody ever finds the station. Not on any map. Not on GPS. I've come to believe it's not a place. It's a trap. A kind of hunting ground. And if you see that red sign, don't stop. Don't look in the mirror. And whatever you do, never smile back. My name is Travis Cole. I've been delivering medical supplies across the Southwest for 10 years. I've seen my fair share of weird things on long desert roads, but nothing prepared me for what happened on Route 77 in the dead of night, near a station that shouldn't have existed. It was October 2022. I was hauling refrigerated vaccines from Tucson to Flagstaff. I had left late and was cutting through the back highways to save time. Route 77 is long, hot, and empty. Not a place you want to break down. But that's exactly what happened. At 1:47 a.m., my truck's engine sputtered, then died. No warning, no dashboard lights, just a long whine. In silence, I coasted to the side of the road. Everything went dark. My phone was charged, but there was no signal, not even an SOS bar. I was stuck. Then I saw it. A flicker in the distance. A neon sign. It was deep orange, glowing faintly through the desert haze. 77 pit stop, open. I hadn't seen anything marked on the map. I checked again. There was nothing there, just empty desert. But the lights didn't lie. I grabbed my flashlight and started walking. After about 10 minutes, I came upon a building I swear hadn't been there before. A single-story brick structure with flickering lights and shattered windows. One rusted gas pump stood outside. The air was heavy, almost thick. As I got closer, I noticed something that chilled me. There were eyes painted on the walls. Hundreds of them, different sizes, all staring, all open wide, watching. I pushed open the door. It was too warm inside. The clerk behind the counter didn't move. His skin was gray, not pale gray. He stared at me, but didn't blink. Not once. "I need help," I said. He didn't respond. just pointed to the back hallway. I should have turned around. I should have left. But I walked toward it. The hall was lined with mirrors, all of them warped. The reflections were wrong. They didn't move when I did. Some even smiled when I didn't. At the end of the hallway was a red door. There was something breathing behind it. I could hear it. Something big. Then the lights went out, and the door creaked open. I couldn't move. I don't mean I was frozen with fear. I mean I physically couldn't move. My body felt like it was being held in place, not by hands or ropes, but by something heavy in the air. The red door opened completely, and inside was blackness. A pitch-dark room with no light source, yet I could see everything. The walls inside were moving, breathing, like lungs under wallpaper. And on every inch of the walls were eyes. Real, wet, blinking eyes. They blinked in sync. Except one. One in the far corner stared directly at me and didn't blink at all. Then I saw the thing. It wasn't a creature, not in the way we understand creatures. It looked like it had once tried to copy the human form, but failed horribly. Its skin was stretched in the wrong places. Its mouth hung too low, and its limbs bent backwards. It didn't walk. It slid, and its eyes were missing, just hollow, bleeding sockets. I turned and ran. The hallway stretched as I ran. The mirrors shattered one by one as I passed. Behind me, I could hear the wet, scraping sound of the thing following. I burst back into the main store, gasping. The gray-skinned clerk was still there, but now he was smiling. His teeth were long and sharp like nails jammed into his gums. The gas pump outside was running, spilling fuel onto the dirt, like it had a mind of its own. I didn't think. I just ran. Out into the desert. I ran until the orange glow was behind me. And then, just like that, it was gone. No building, no lights, no sign of life, nothing but sand. My truck was still dead, but the fuel line? Full again. I drove for hours without stopping, heart pounding. But I couldn't forget the red door, or the sound behind it, or the fact that, when I checked my dash cam later, the recording didn't exist. It had been wiped clean, except for one still frame. A frame showing the inside of the gas station hallway. And in it, behind me, were two hollow eyes staring over my shoulder. Back home in Phoenix, I tried to forget. I didn't tell anyone. Who would believe me? But strange things started happening that week. First, I noticed the mirrors in my apartment. They'd fog up even when there was no heat. And sometimes, I saw things behind me that weren't there when I turned around. Eyes. Always eyes. Then came the dreams. I'd wake up in cold sweat, hearing a slow scraping sound outside my window. My hallway looked longer at night. My phone kept showing GPS coordinates I never searched for, ones that pointed straight back to Route 77. And on the fourth night, something was in my apartment. I woke up to a creaking sound, like someone stepping slowly across the floorboards. I froze. I listened, and I heard it again, closer this time. I grabbed my flashlight and turned it on. Nothing. But on my wall was a handprint, smudged, wet, with 3 fingers, and no thumb. I decided to leave town. Took a contract delivering oxygen tanks to Nevada, far away from Route 77. The first night at a roadside motel in Ely, I checked in and turned on the lights. They flickered. The desk clerk looked up and said, You've seen it, haven't you? I froze. What? I asked. He pointed to the wall behind me, where a mirror hung crooked. You opened the red door. I didn't ask how he knew. I left before sunrise. But as I got back in my truck, there was a new sticker on my rear window. Orange. Faded. It said, 77 pit stop, always open. It's been 4 months since that night, but I haven't escaped it. I can't. Everywhere I go, gas stations, motels, parking garages, I see traces of it. The orange sticker, the number 77. Once, I pumped gas at a Chevron, and for a split second, the fuel price screen glitched, flashing a message. Turn back. It's watching. 2 nights ago, I blacked out while driving. Woke up on the side of a dirt road. Sand everywhere. Moon high in the sky. I looked ahead. There it was. The pit stop. Exactly the same. Eyes painted on walls. One gas pump, leaking endlessly. Only this time, it was waiting for me. The door opened on its own. I walked in. The red hallway was longer now. Thousands of mirrors. Everyone cracked. Everyone whispering. My name. Travis. You let it out. I walked. I had no choice. I was drawn in. The red door was wider. From behind it came a voice, my own, screaming, begging me to shut it. But I couldn't. The door opened, and I saw what I had let into this world. It wasn't a demon. It wasn't a ghost. It was a memory that had gained shape, weight, and teeth. It had my face. It smiled, and then it crawled into me, right through my mouth, right into my mind. Now, I see everything it sees. I'm still driving, still delivering, still wearing my uniform, but I'm not Travis anymore. Not really. I'm just a passenger now, and every time I stop for gas, a new door opens. So if you ever find yourself stuck at night, on a road not listed on any map, and you see an orange sign that says 77 pit stop, open, don't go inside, because it's already in you, and the door's been open a long, long time.